Hello! You might be wondering why I'm waving around my wand, and that is because, if you haven't guessed by the title of this video yet, I'm going to be doing the Harry Potter spells tag. I think this has been around for a while, but I just saw it for the first time on Book Roast channel, and I decided it looked like so much fun, so I decided to just assume that she was opening the tag to everybody, and I kind of tagged myself. So I'm just going to officially tell you, I'm not going to tag anybody specifically. If you would like in, you are officially tagged in yourself. Please join in if you'd like. All of these are based on spells from Harry Potter with kind of a bookish tie-in, so let's jump right in. The first spell is Expecto Patronum, and that is a childhood book you connect with good memories. And for this, I picked two books specifically that I tie in with my mom. The first one is the Polar Express, and the reason I picked this one is because it's one of my mom's favorite books. We still read it to this day, every Christmas season, and since it's one of my mom's favorites, anytime there's anything to do with the book at all, we end up going and doing it. If there is a Polar Express thing anywhere around us, we're going. So it still holds a special place in my heart, along with If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. This is probably one of the first authors I went to meet, and I was really young. I didn't even know you could go meet these people who wrote books, and my mom found it and really supported my love of reading and really pushed me to be a strong reader then. And like I said, that's one of the first authors I remember seeing. My mom took me to meet her. I got my book signed. I still have it. Probably the first book I ever got signed to myself. And she's still popping these out all the time. And they're so much fun. The kids still love them. I still love them. And I still have If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Next up is Expelliarmus, and that is a book that took you by surprise. And for this, I'm going to go with Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. The reason this took me by surprise is because I would consider myself a pretty good student, and somehow I never knew about Stalin basically having his own little version of the Holocaust where he moved all the Lithuanians out to Siberia to basically die. I have no idea how I missed that entire part of history, but like most of Ruta Sepetys' books, this is true. She digs out some part of history that I am completely unaware of and sheds light on it and makes me feel both completely excited to learn about this and very dumb at the same time. But I love her books. They're always fantastic. This one particularly, though, is Between Shades of Grey. Next up is Prior Incantato, and that is the last book that you just read. I just finished this past Monday evening before it came out Tuesday, Wild Card by Marie Lu. This is the second book in the Warcross series, and if you liked Warcross and if you like Ready Player One, you will love the series. You will love Wild Card. Highly recommend it. Go get it now. Go check it out. Next up is Alohomora, and that is a book that introduced you to a genre you had not considered before. And for this, I went with a poetry collection. I've read a lot of poetry collections before, but none of them ever resonated with me quite like this one, and that is The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. I've only read this one by her, but I know that one just came out this week, and I actually have on my shelf another one that she released, something like The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one, I think is what it's called, or Doesn't Die in this one, but I'm excited for it. I really, really enjoyed the first collection, and it really got me paying more attention to poetry collections that come out, so thank you to Amanda Lovelace, and I'm looking forward to reading more of your poetry. Next up is Ridiculous, and that is a funny book you've read, and for this, I had trouble narrowing it down, so I'm giving you several. All of them come in multiple books in a series, so be prepared for a lot of books. So first up is the Bad Guy series by Erin Blaby, and these are so funny. I've mentioned them so many times on my channel. I'm not going to go into it anymore, but read them. Trust me, you will love them. If you have children, they will love them. They are fantastic. So Erin Blaby, the Bad Guy series. Next up is the Georgia Nicholson Diaries. The first book is called Angus Thongs in Full Frontal Snog by Louise Renison, and these are hilarious. They're all diaries of a teen girl in Britain, and they are just so funny and realistic, and they're hilarious. There's 10 of them, and I laughed my way through every single one of them. Next up is another series. This one's a graphic novel series. It's called The Lunch Lady, and these are hilarious. The Lunch Lady is kind of a superhero that saves the school all the time, and I believe there are also 10 of these, and they are hilarious. I love them, but perfect for elementary grade. I even enjoy them, so you might as well. Next up is Sarah Anderson's graphic novel comic collections, and the first one is called Adulthood is a Myth. She has 2 others out as well. They have really funny names. I think the second one, it's got a blue cover. It's like The Big Mushy or something, and then the last one is purple, and it's called Herding Cats, and they are all so funny. I would recommend these for people probably at least 18 or older. A lot of the references are about being an adult, and it's not like it's risque material, but you're just not going to get it if you have not had some adulting to do in your life. It's just so funny, so relatable. I love those collections. I always breeze right through them and laugh at pretty much every single thing that she puts in there. Next up is Sonorous, and this is a book you think everybody should know about. So I could not just pick one. I'm horrible at just picking one. So I picked 3, and I went with first, Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is a really powerful book looking at sexual assault for a teenage girl, and it is amazing. They just recently re-released this as a graphic novel, and somehow it was even more impactful in that format. I'm not sure how they did it, but it's amazing. If you have not read it, you definitely should. Next up is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I think this is just such a fascinating look at the world and about putting kind of historical events in context. We follow Trevor Noah, who is the host of The Daily Show, who is in our current world, who came from such a diverse background than what we experience here in America, that I think it would be really important for everybody to read about it and just learn a little bit more about the world around us. And lastly is We Should All Be Feminist by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and it's just fantastic, it's uplifting, it's empowering, and I think everyone should read it. Next up is Obliviate, and that is a book or spoiler you would like to forget having read. I would say there's really not any books I would want to like completely forget, as in like I didn't like them, because while I've had those, I wouldn't know if I hadn't read it, if I liked it or not. So I would say that. I think most of the time spoilers, I deserve them if I get them, because I've put off reading the books forever. For instance, I still have not read the last 2 Harry Potter books. I know what happens. I don't blame anybody though, because they've been out forever and it's my fault I haven't read them. So I went with this with just basically any mystery book. Once you know the twist or the ending, the big reveal in a mystery, it's not going to be as enjoyable, I think, the second time you read it. So I went with The Husband's Secret or Gone Girl for this one. Either of those, I think it would be fun to go back and reread again, not knowing what happens. But besides that, I would say just general mysteries. Other than that, I have no answer for this. Next up is Imperial, a book you had to read for school. And again, I picked several. I am horrible at picking just one. I went with 3 books that I really, really liked that I probably would not have read on my own if they had not been picked for school. The first up is The Giver by Lois Lowry. I probably never would have picked this up, but it was very impactful on me when I was younger, and obviously on most people it's still a big, big book today in middle grade YA Lit. Next up is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. I never would have picked this up on my own, but I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, I kind of want to reread it at this point, so maybe that'll happen soon. And lastly is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I never, ever, ever in a million years would have picked this book up if it was not required for school, but I loved it. I have reread it a couple times. I actually have a collection of these. It's so, so, so good. So good. Next up is Crucio. I think that's how you say it. And that is a book that was painful to read. And for this, I went with The Andromeda Strain. And the reason it was painful is because I had to read it for school and it just wasn't working. This is a book by Michael Crichton, which most people read for enjoyment. And I'm sure that was supposed to be the point of it. But I am a very slow reader. I do read a lot, so most people think that I'm pretty fast. It's just that I read a lot of the time, but I am slow, and we had huge chunks of this due every so often, and I was struggling to keep up, so I could not enjoy this book. I literally remember crying while reading this book, trying to keep up with the pace of the classroom, and I just hated this book because of that. I kind of almost want to reread it to see if I would like it any better now that I could read it at my own pace, but I cannot get over the feeling of crying while I read it. So yeah, that was very painful. And lastly, we have Avada Kedavra, and that is a book that could kill. Interpret as you will. And first of all, I love that that rhymes. Secondly, I went with like a little twist with this. I have two books, and they are both choose your own adventure, because depending on how you choose, you could be killed by the book. And for this, I went with Romeo and or Juliet by Ryan North first, and that obviously is a Romeo and Juliet where you pick your own path, which just sounds like so much fun. There's no way you can get through all of these, so I've kind of flipped through a few, and I'm gonna just keep flipping through until maybe one day I'll make it through all of them. And the other choose your own adventure book that I am getting ready to pick up and I am so excited for is based on the old game of Oregon Trail. So the first book in the series is called The Race to Chimney Rock, and I believe there are 4, maybe 5 books out right now. They all just recently came out, and they're by Jesse Wiley, and they're all just like it sounds. Choose your own adventure, Oregon Trail. So it's kind of like playing the game where you get to make choices, but it's in a book form. So there you have it. Those are my 10 spell book tags, if you will. Again, if you enjoyed this and you would like to participate, definitely feel free to go ahead and jump in. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.